morning, everybody. I am Muriel Bowser, and we are in the John Wilson building. I am here today to introduce the district's next Chief Financial Officer. I am pleased to acknowledge members of my team and also the chairman of the council, Phil Mendelson, who is here today. I am appointing and will send a package to the council for their immediate consideration, Glen Lee. And Glen comes to us from the other Washington, where he has served as the finance director for the city of Seattle since 2010. So it's obviously very important for us to have a CFO with a high level of experience, and Glen brings that experience across a wide range of responsibilities to the job as the district CFO. The district CFO, of course, oversees everything from revenue estimation to budget formulation and treasury management. So it is also very important for us to hire someone with strong integrity who can come and build on the district's financial success. So as you know, we have one of the strongest economies in the nation, and in recent years, we are very proud of our work on our budget and on making a thriving economy in the district. First, we've been able to have our first upgrade to a AAA bond rating, our first audit that had zero significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, which we have maintained for 7 straight years, and the district's first 60-day cash reserve, a milestone we hit right before COVID, and I am proud to say that we've been able to maintain throughout the pandemic. So I am confident that Glen is the right leader to step into this role, and in addition to bringing a track record of fiscal stewardship, he's a strong collaborator who is ready to make sure our agencies have what they need to be successful. He also has experience dealing with some of the same challenges facing us in the district's comeback from COVID, particularly related to bringing workers back to the city. And while he is also, well, I won't make any more references to the other Washington because he's in the new Washington, his new Washington. And so before I hand it over to Glen, I also want to thank Fitzroy Lee for jumping in when we needed him. His leadership at the CFO's office has been impeccable, not only during this interim period, but as the district's chief economist. So I'm very happy that Fitzroy can continue to concentrate on those the difficult job of being the district's chief economist, especially now when our national economy and the district's economy are facing some challenges. Fitzroy will continue on in that role, the role as the interim CFO during Glen's confirmation process. So with that, I am pleased to announce and introduce Glen Lee.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's good to see you all. And thank you, Mayor Bowser, for those kind words. I am truly honored to receive your nomination as the next Chief Financial Officer of the District of Columbia. I look forward to transitioning from a Washingtonian from the Pacific Northwest to becoming a Washingtonian here in the district. I'm humbled, excited, and eager to join the district's team. As I have said many times throughout the process, I view the District of Columbia Chief Financial Officer as the pinnacle of the public finance profession here in the United States. The mission of the Office of the Chief Financial Officer is to enhance the fiscal and financial stability, accountability, and integrity of the district. And this speaks directly to my experience and passion as a financial professional. It's a direct call to action for the team of career professionals at OCFO, who I look forward to leading, in executing our functions, providing top-notch customer service, maintaining sound business practices, and implementing policies and systems to support residents and businesses alike. The role of CFO in the district is unique to any other in the country. I look forward to lending my decades of experience in leadership in financial policy, tax administration, accounting, treasury, and executive leadership to continuing the great progress and stewardship of district resources. Earlier, I had an opportunity to speak with District of Columbia Council Chairman Phil Mendelson and Committee on Business and Economic Development Chair Kenyon McDuffie to discuss my experience and vision if confirmed. I look forward to doing the same with other members of the committee and the District Council. Lastly, to the staff at the Office of Chief Financial Officer, thank you. Thank you for your hard work and service. I look forward to working with you over the coming weeks, months, and years. And again, Mayor Bowser, thank you for this honor. It truly is. I'm looking forward to coming on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. So with that, we'll take questions. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, question for Mr. Lee. You spent so much of your career in Seattle. I think I saw it was nearly 30 years. Why come to DC now?
Thank you. First and foremost, it's an exciting city with exciting challenges. But most importantly, as I described before, this is the pinnacle of our profession, and the opportunity to work at this level is just incredibly exciting. So on a personal basis, it's an exciting opportunity, and it's also an opportunity for financial policy wonks like myself, like none other. So I'm very happy to be here.
And DC is operating with a budget around $19.5 billion. Can you offer some context into what you're dealing with in Seattle and how it compares?
Our budget is about $7 billion annually.
Thanks.
Yes, sir, Mr. Wright.
Yes, to Mr. Lee, Seattle is a city. The District of Columbia is a state. Are you ready to close the gaps in terms of the different operations?
I believe so. I started my career with the state of California in the legislature, in the Legislative Analyst's Office. Probably one of the best places to learn public finance in the country. And so I had the opportunity to work at a state level for years. In addition, as with all major cities, what we can do in the financial realm, levy taxes, issue debt, and so forth, is a function of state law. So over the last several years, a good 20, I've worked in the legislative session in the state of Washington year after year, working on state and local issues. So I feel like I have a knowledge that provides the appropriate background to handle the broader responsibilities.
Any other questions? Yes.
Off topic.
Yes.
There was reportedly a man who was fatally shot at a tent in Thomas Circle that's used by people experiencing homelessness. I think this might have happened an hour ago. Have you been briefed on that shooting?
I have been briefed.
Okay, is there anything you can say in response?
MPD is investigating. They have a person of interest that they are seeking who they believe is responsible for this homicide.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor, what are some of the top financial issues you spoke with the new incoming CFO?
We have discussed the full range of issues that the district is facing. Top on my mind is what the kind of the trails of the pandemic and how they have already and will affect our economy. We are especially focused on our commercial property values, which we think can be impacted have been slightly impacted with this current budget, and over the next several years could be further impacted. So getting people back to work and making sure, from the policy side, from our side, of course, is getting people back to work and more activity in our downtown. So that's what we're going to work on. But we want the CFO to help us focus on what that means for our overall budget. We have also talked to Glenn about the leadership that the CFO's office has taken on some other issues that I have asked when Jeff DeWitt was our CFO, a focus on metro finances, which is going to is a huge regional issue, but also very important for us. The CFO's office has also undertaken another special project that I've asked them to focus on, and that is inventorying the housing stock that is part of the DC Housing Authority, and making sure that each of those units in the Housing Authority's plan to fix those units is sound. And we have added the condition of those units to our CARS database. We're always interested in working with the CFO on its revenue estimates and the impact that they have on our ability to properly budget. So there's too many issues to mention, but those are some that are on top of our minds.
Thank you. And one more specific, talk about revenue projections. Sports gambling is something that has fallen dramatically short of projections. Do you want another study of this program to move forward? Do you want a rethinking, a clear-eyed projection of sports gambling?
Well, you have put your finger on another issue that I spoke with at length with Glenn, and let me broaden it a bit. I'm concerned generally about the lottery and DC Lottery, and the sports gambling is a part of that. So I think that we're all going to take a long, hard look at what's happening in that area.
Would you want to rethink the setup where right now it's just DC Gambit as a mobile app? Would you want private operators to or a study of that, such a change?
I'm not really prepared to talk about any specific changes. Yes, James.
Yes, I have a question for the chairman, Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you have a sense of a timetable in terms of the confirmation process for Mr. Lee?
I believe what we're trying to do is see if we can have Dr. Lee in place by the end of June. Mr. Lee. The Dr. Lee behind me and Mr. Lee behind me. Lots of
No
Lees.
relation.
We're trying to economize on stationery. For me? Thank you.
Mr. Lee,
He's right there.
I got to question him earlier.
Yes.
Mr. Lee, I wanted to ask you, and the mayor mentioned your shared focus in bringing workers back after the pandemic. Can you talk about your approach to that in Seattle and what might work in DC?
As an employer, it starts with an employer, and as an employer of several thousand employees, our mayor has made policies to require employees who work in offices to be back a minimum number of days. And that's the first step. In addition, in our situation, the city has made a concerted effort to provide amenities and other enhanced security situations or programs to make coming back into downtown a comfortable experience. That includes simple things like cleaning some of the metro stops to a more active police presence. Those are the policy things that the city has done. In the end, it is as much a policy issue as it is a financial issue. And seeing a vibrant downtown is an important, I think, for every major city in the country, and certainly it is here as well. So we're happy to do the assessments necessary to support the mayor and council in developing a stronger downtown post-pandemic.
Mayor, is there anything you can say there in terms of what you might be looking at and what Seattle has done that you would want to try in DC, or?
I'm pretty much focused on DC, and what we look at in the chief financial officer is just the ability and also the experience at working in a complex financial environment to support the policymakers. The CFO's job is to mind the dollars and cents, but also to help us look at strategies. For example, if we're facing a time where we could have decreased revenues because our property taxes are going down, or if we are looking around the country and we're seeing a telework or a future of work trend emerge that's going to have an impact on our revenues, then we want a very active investigation and study of those trends that are going to impact the district's finances. Now, when it comes down to what we're actually going to do about it, that's going to be up to us, the mayor and the council, to develop the policies, fund the policies, and implement them.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.